Hey guys, welcome back. Hope you all are doing well. In this video, we'll talk about priority sector lending. So, PSL norms, what is PSL and what are the PSL guidelines given by RBI to banks, and how to manage shortfall towards the PSL target. We will go through these particular things in detail in this particular video. Only request, please do like and do share this session with your friends if you like the session. And if you are new to my channel, please do subscribe for more. Okay, we will start with PSL, Priority Sector Lending Introduction. So, guys, whenever we talk about PSL, basically these are some important areas for the national interest, and Government of India and as well as RBI, they generally identify these particular areas, or we can say these are the most important areas for the overall development of Indian economy. So that's why these sectors have given some priority over other sectors. Okay, so whenever you talk about the priority sector, it include eight major areas. So these are like agriculture, MSMEs, micro, small and medium enterprises. We have export credit, education, housing, social infrastructure, renewable energy, and others. Others will basically cover the weaker section. Okay, so here in this particular video, we will discuss these particular areas in detail, and what are the key guidelines which is generally given by RBI towards these particular sectors. Okay, these are generally known as PSL norms. Guys, whenever we talk about sectors which generally comes under PSL, so these are the eight sectors. So first one is agriculture. So if you study why agriculture is part of PSL, you understand that particular thing, because in India we have maximum dependency on primary sector, so which include agriculture and allied areas. Okay, so for the overall development of agriculture and allied areas, so RBI have given some specific guidelines to bank. Being a bank, if you are running a bank in India, so you have to lend this percentage in this particular area, because this is a subject, or we can say sector of national importance. Okay, MSME, micro, small and medium enterprises, that is again we can say the most important or the most emerging sector in Indian economy. So we working toward the self-reliance or this made in India concepts and all. So like if these particular sectors will have timely and adequate credit, so they'll also grow. Okay, weaker section, which part of others. Okay, if you'll visit the website, RBI website, you'll find it as others. Export credit, education, housing, social infrastructure, and renewable energy. So these are the eight sectors which are generally part of your priority sector. Or if you study these particular ones, so India or Indian economy, they have maximum dependency to these particular areas. And if you run a bank, so these are, like we can say, these are quite risky sectors. Like being a bank, if you lend in agriculture or for this MSME sectors and all, so there is a high chances of default. So that's why bank, they generally started ignoring these particular sector. Then after RBI, they made some mandatory rules for this particular sectors. Like if you running bank in India, so you have to lend 40% of their A and BC to the to these particular sectors. Even they also further categorize, like for agriculture it is 18%, for MSME it is 7.5%, for weaker section it is 12%. So RBI that generally identify these particular areas the most for the overall development of Indian economy. Okay, so we will discuss these particular thing in detail, what comes under which sector. So we will talk about these one. Okay, so priority sector lending is an important role given by RBI to bank for providing a specified portion of bank lending to specific sectors, or those eight sectors. Like these are the eight sectors which generally covered under PSL norms. So these are the most important sector of Indian economy. So if they'll have the timely credit or the adequate credit, we can say, so they'll also grow. So that's why, or these are the we can say these sectors are the most important sector of Indian economy. So that's why, like, if you want a good numbers in growth as well as in development, so you have to work toward these particular sectors. Okay, so RBI mandate banks, like if you are doing banking business in India, so you have to lend this percentage of your overall lending to the priority sector. Okay, so we have for different bank, we have different guidelines. For commercial bank it is different, for RRBs it is different, for small finance bank it is different, for foreign banks less than 20 branches and more than 20 branches it is different. So we will discuss in this particular video. Okay, so first, I hope now you're getting the basic idea about PSL. So it means those sectors which the government of India and Reserve Bank of India consider important for the development of basic need of the country, and therefore they are given priority over other sectors. So the bank are directed to encourage the growth of such sector with adequate and timely credit. Okay, so as we've gone through these 8 sectors, so these are the most important sector of Indian economy. So if you want a good development in our economy, so you have to work on these areas. Or even like if you want to reduce poverty, or if you want to reduce inequality in Indian economy, so you have to work on these particular areas. And even we have maximum dependency on these 8 sectors, so that's why RBI categorized them as a priority sector. Okay, so to ensure the continuous flow of credit to priority sector, the compliance of bank will be monitored on quarterly basis. Okay, so RBI gave these particular sorry. So RBI gave these particular guidelines, and even RBI also cross check are these banks are fulfilling these particular guidelines on timely basis or not. So, fine. So, like as I told you, these are the 8 sectors, or even there are some set of guidelines which is generally issued by RBI to the Indian banks, and even the overall banking business in India. Okay, so RBI also keep an eye on these particular banks. Are they fulfilling the are they following these particular guidelines or not? And bank, they have to report themselves on quarterly basis. Okay, so many time examiner they generally ask question based on the reporting. So bank, they have to report themselves to RBI on quarterly basis, and if any bank miss their target, so for that particular one we also have some provisions. These are again given by RBI, so we will discuss those provision as well. Okay, for the shortfall management of PSL targets. So as of now, I hope you get an idea about what is priority sector. Still, if you have any query related to any point or any terms which I used in these particular one, or even which you heard about the PSL, so do mention in comment section. Now we'll talk about PSL guidelines or PSL norms. Basically, guys, there are some set of guidelines which is given by RBI. So RBI that generally provide guidelines toward the PSL lendings. Okay, so we have major 2 3 guidelines, like it is different for commercial bank. Like for commercial bank, they have to lend 40% of their ANBC, 40% of their ANBC adjusted net bank credit to the priority sector. So in case of a domestic commercial bank, like a private sector, public sector and all, so they have to lend 40% of their total ANBC to the priority sector, adjusted net bank credit to the priority sector. Okay, so we have sub norms as well. Out of this 40%, 18% is generally earmarked for agriculture. Okay, and 7.5% for MSME, micro small and medium enterprises, and then 12% for weaker sections. So for different areas as well. So if you talk about RRBs, regional rural banks, so they have to lend 75% of their outstanding credit to the priority sector. Then we have some set of sub norms. If you talk about the small finance bank, they have to lend 75% of their net their outstanding credit to the priority sector. If you talk about the urban cooperative banks or cooperative banks in India, so as of now, like previously it was 40%, but by 2024 they'll also lend 75% of their total lending to the priority sector. For foreign bank, we have different guidelines for less than 20 branches or more than 20 branches. So more than 20 branches, it is similar, but for less than 20 branches, they have to lend 40%, but this is not mandatory. Okay. So these guidelines, which is generally given by RBI, they generally known as PSL norms. So first, if you talk about rule 1 or norm 1, so domestic commercial bank, I hope you understand what are domestic commercial bank. So the this include public sector, private sector, all banks. Okay, urban cooperative banks as of now, their limit is gradually increased by RBI by 2024 they'll come in a different segment. Okay, and foreign bank in India have to lend 40% of their ANBC adjusted net bank credit to the priority sector. Okay, so let's say if you talk about domestic commercial bank, so we have State Bank of India, which is generally categorized as domestic commercial bank, or PNB, or ICICI Bank, SDFC Bank. So let's say ICICI Bank, the ANBC, the adjusted net bank credit. How you will understand ANBC in a simple word? So it is the overall lending amount which remains to bank after the reserve ratios like CRR, SLR, and other obligations. Okay, so let's say the ANBC of State Bank of India is 100 crore rupees. So out of this 100 crore rupees, they have to lend 40%, which is equal to 40 crore rupees to the priority sector. So this is the rule 1 for your we can say domestic commercial bank, urban cooperative, and foreign banks in India. Okay, so let's say in case of let's say any bank, let's say Citibank, it has more than 20 branches in India. So ANBC of Citibank is supposed at 1000 crore. So out of this 1000 crore, they have to lend 400 crore rupees in the priority sector. Similarly for PNB, for ICICI Bank, for Axis Bank, for Yes Bank, and other banks in India. Okay, so I hope now you get an idea. So this way RBI that generally mandate banks in India, if you are running banks in India, so you have to fulfill this particular guidelines. Like if any bank who missed their target during their quarterly reporting, so RBI will make questions. Okay, and even they have other options like PSL certificates, or they can deposit the remaining amount with NABARD under this RIDF funds, or they can deposit money with SIDV or with Mudra loan schemes and all. Okay, they have different provisions, so we will talk about these one as well. So first you need to understand rule 1, that is norms 1. So if that bank falls under these category, so they have to lend 40% of their ANBC to the priority sector. Okay, now we have some sub norms as well. Okay, so let's say let's take an example of State Bank of India only. So let's say if SBI it has to lend 40% of their ANBC to the priority sector. Okay, so let's say the 40% of SBI ANBC equal to 100 crore rupees. Okay, now do remember this one. So I am taking in another example. So let's say State Bank of India, they have to lend 40%. The rule 1 is they have to lend 40% of their ANBC to the priority sector. Now 40% ANBC equal to 100 crore. Suppose that. So out of this, they have to lend 18 crore rupees in agriculture sector. So we have given priority to these 3 sectors over other remaining sectors. So we have total 8 sectors. So out of all 8 sectors, these 3 sectors have been given some priority over these one. Okay, so 18% or 18 crore rupees, 10% to a weaker section, which means 10 crore rupees to a weaker section, and 7.5 crore rupees to MSME. So this is the sub norm. So the overall target of State Bank of India is 100 crore rupees, and the sub target is out of this 100 crore rupees, they have to lend 10 crore in agriculture, 18 crore in weaker section, 7.5 crore rupees in MSME. So now if you add this 28 plus 735.30 35.5 crore rupees. So they have to lend in these three sectors, remaining 100 crore rupees. So total target is 100 crore rupees. So 100 minus 35 point, so it is 64.5 crore rupees. So they can lend this particular money in agriculture, in weaker section, in MSME, or the remaining one like renewable energy, housing, education, or the other categories. Okay, so now I hope you get this clear. So again, I'll repeat this one because if you'll understand rule 1 clearly, it is very simple to understand rule 2, rule 3, or the subnorms as well. So rule 1 says every bank or three major category, that is domestic commercial bank, foreign banks, and urban cooperative bank as of now. So if they are running banking business or any banks in that generally falls under this particular category, they have to lend 40% of their ANBC to the priority sector. Now, for example, say State Bank of India, which is a domestic commercial bank, so they have to lend 40% of their ANBC to the priority sector. Let's suppose and 40% of ANBC of State Bank of India equal to 100 crore rupees. So now out of this 100 crore rupees, they have to lend 18 crore rupees in priority sector, 10 crore in weaker section, and 7.5 crore rupees in MSME. Okay, so these are the subnorms, and this total of these three is 35.5 crore rupees. Total target was 100 crore rupees. So 100 minus 35.5, it is 64.5 crore rupees. So now the remaining amount they can lend in other remaining 5 sectors, or even they can give loan to agriculture or these given sector as well. Okay, so I hope you get this particular one. So 40% of their ANBC they have to lend in priority sector, A and B, C, adjusted net bank credit. Now out of this they have to lend 18% in agriculture, 10% to weaker section where the credit limit do not exceed rupees 50,000. So you also remember this norm as well. 7.5% for MSME, that is micro, small, and medium enterprises. I hope you get this particular thing clearly. Now I took a screenshot from RBI website. There are some changes or there are some latest development in these regarding these PSL guidelines. Okay, so total priority sector for domestic commercial bank, foreign banks, this is excluding RRBs and small finance bank. Okay, this is excluding RRBs and small finance bank. So for 40% of their ANBC, 18% in agriculture, 7.5% micro enterprises, and 12% advances to weaker section. So earlier it was 10%. Now RBI increases to 12%. Okay, so these are the latest developments toward the PSL norms. Okay, foreign bank less than 20 branches, 40% in the priority sector. So this is not applicable. So if any foreign bank who have less than 20 branches in our country, so they have to lend 40% of their ANBC to the priority sector. Rest they can lend in any sector. So they have that particular liberty. RRBs, that is our rule 2. So we'll come to this one, norms 2. So they have to lend 75% of their ANBC to the priority sector, 18% in agriculture, and 7.5% MSME, 15% in weaker section. Small finance bank is again same. Okay, so only changes 12% in weaker section. So do remember this one. Okay, so this is the latest guidelines. So previous one was like time to time RBI generally change these particular guidelines. Okay, so do remember. If you talk about the this is related to urban cooperative banks, primary urban cooperative banks. So earlier it was 40%, as I told you in that particular slide. So earlier it was 40%, then RBI increased it to 45%, then by 2022 it is 50%, 23 now 31st March 2023 till it is 60%. From next year onward they have to lend, for next year onward they have to match this 75%. Okay, so now RRBs, regional rural bank, small finance bank, and urban cooperative bank, so they have to lend 75% of their net annual credit to the priority sector. Okay, so guys, I just gave you an idea about the priority sector. So I hope you're getting these particular thing clearly. So in rule 1 we generally talk about these one. So what are the latest development, we also discussed these particular things. So I hope you're getting these particular things. So Okay, so norms 2 is regarding to RRBs, regional rural bank, or even it is for a small finance bank. The only change is that weaker section, they have to lend 12% as compared as the commercial bank. But if you talk about the RRBs, they have to lend 15% in weaker section. Okay, we'll come to the subnorms as well. So RRBs will have a target of 75% of their outstanding advances for priority sector. They do not have to maintain CRR and SLR, so that's why we use net annual credit or outstanding advances. Okay, so subnorms, this is the subnorms guidelines. So total target is 75%. Agriculture, it is 18%. Small and marginal, it is 8%. Or micro enterprises, it is 7.5%. And there is a new category, small and marginal farmers, 8%. And weaker section, 15%. Okay. So now I'll come back to this chart. So this is the present scenario where like in one go you have to remember these particular things. Okay, so you'll get more clarity. Guys, first, okay, just a minute. So we have first category is public sector banks or private sector banks or commercial bank in India, and foreign bank more than 20 branches. So they have to lend 40% of their ANBC, 18% in agriculture, 7.5% in MSME, and 12% for this weaker section. Foreign bank less than 20 branches, 40% to the priority sector. This is not applicable. Regional rural banks, they have to lend 75% in priority sector, 18% in agriculture, 7.5% in this MSME and micro enterprises. Weaker section, it is 15%. And this regional rural bank, they have one another category that is known as micro and small farmers. Okay, and small finance bank, they have to lend 75% in priority sector, remaining 18%, 7.5% and 12%. So they have to lend 75%, but the subnorms is similar to your domestic commercial bank. Okay, so do remember this one. Cooperative bank, urban cooperative bank. So in recently we changed this one. So now they also have to meet this particular target, and the sub targets are similar to RRBs. Okay. So now I hope you get these particular things clearly. Still, if you have any confusion, do mention in comment section. I'll get back to your queries. Okay. So now these were some basic guidelines or important guidelines towards PSL norms. Okay, I hope you get these particular thing clearly. So what is PSL and what are PSL norms, which is generally given by RBI. Now there are some set of guidelines apart from these particular one, like some category guidelines, like in education. Like if any bank who lend for education loan, so there are some limit of 20 lakh rupees. Okay, or even if they give loan for infrastructure, for housing it is different, for social infrastructure it is different, for some under some scheme it is different. So we will talk about these particular things under key guidelines. Okay, so the activities covered under agriculture are classified under subcategories. These are farm credit, agriculture infrastructure and ancillary activities. So like as with every norms, like commercial bank, State Bank of India, it has to lend 75% in 40% in priority sector. So out of this 18% in agriculture. So now what comes under agriculture? So agriculture is further categorized among three parts. One is farm credit, agriculture loan, basic loans. Okay, so loan for the production of agriculture items. Okay, second one, agriculture infrastructure, which generally cover like building of infrastructures towards the agriculture or related to agriculture, like warehouses creation or a pump loan for pumps or any other things for irrigation purpose and all. Ancillary activities, allied activities, like there are some activities which is linked with the agriculture, like animal husbandry loans or the poultry farms. So this generally comes under the ancillary activities. So every bank in India, they have to lend certain percentage of their ANBC to the priority sector. Out of that, 18% for agriculture. So now agriculture, that is further categorized among three parts. So agriculture credit, that generally include farm credit, agriculture and ancillary activities. Okay. Now second one is bank loan up to a limit of 5 crores per borrowers for building social infrastructure activities like school, healthcare facilities, drinking water facilities, sanitation facility. Okay. So let's say if any bank who gave a loan for construction of a school worth 10 crore rupees. So out of this 10 crore rupees, he is eligible for only 5 crore rupees PSL target. With that particular 10 crore rupees loan, so RBI will consider 5 crore rupees landed in priority sector. Okay, so remaining will be a normal loan. So there are some cap which is generally made by RBI, and you have to remember these particular guidelines because so many time examiner they generally ask question based on these guidelines. Okay, with the primary guidelines you have to remember these one as well. So if any bank is giving loan for the social infrastructure activities like healthcare facility like the construction of hospital and all, so the apex the cap is 5 crore rupees. Let's say a bank give loan to XYZ company for construction of hospital worth rupees 20 crore. So when he'll report themselves for the PSL norms, so out of this 20 crore he can report 5 crore rupees in PSL target. So let's say this bank has a target of 100 crore rupees, 100 crore rupees. So out of this, out of it, bank RBI will not consider 20 crore rupees loan in PSL. He'll consider only 5 crore rupees loan in PSL because this is as per the guidelines. Okay, I hope you're getting this particular thing. Loan up to a limit of 10 crore rupees per borrower for building healthcare facilities including under Ayushman Bharat Tier 2 and Tier 6 cities. Now there is a change. This was the latest guidelines of RBI. So in normal category, they have the infrastructure or social infrastructure amount is 5 crore rupees only. But in a special category means under this particular scheme, Ayushman Bharat schemes. So if any borrower who borrow loans, so the PSL or if any loan is given by any banks under this Ayushman Bharat, so for the construction of social infrastructure, hospital and all, so the limit is 10 crore rupees. Okay, let's say if he give loan under Ayushman Bharat 20 crore rupees, so now from here he can manage his 10 crore or RBI will give PSL certificate of 10 crore rupees to this particular bank against this particular lending. Okay, so these subnorms are, these guidelines are very important. So norms, subnorms and guidelines. Third one, we are going through the guidelines, and guidelines again very important. These are very tricky. You have to remember, you have to practice, you have to jot down these particular things so you will remember during the examination. Limit for housing loan under priority sector. The housing loan limits for priority sector lending eligibility is 35 lakh rupees in metropolitan cities and 25 lakh rupees in other cities. Same in case of RRBs as well as small finance bank. Okay. So if you talk about the housing related project, let's say if bank give loan to any house buyer or home buyers. Okay. So if it is in metropolitan cities, so let's say bank give a loan of 1 crore rupees in metropolitan city. So out of this 1 crore rupees, when he'll report his PSL, so bank will consider 35 lakh rupees. If this loan in rural areas, so it will consider as 25 lakh rupees only. So this is the maximum limit. So out of that 100 crore rupees, they have to, like, this is the further distribution. Okay. Next one, education. So again, here are some update in education as well. So previously it was like for domestic education. For domestic education, it was 10 lakh rupees, and for foreign education, it was 20 lakh rupees. But now, for domestic as well as international, the limit is same, that is 20 lakh rupees. So, loan to individual for educational purpose, including vocational courses, not exceeding rupees 20 lakh are considered or eligible for priority sector classification. So, if any bank who give loan to any students for education purpose, so the limit is 20 lakh. They can give loan beyond 20 lakh as well. But when they'll go for the reporting, so RBI will consider 20 lakh as the apex limit. Okay. So 20 lakh per borrower. So this is per borrower. Huh? I hope you're getting these particular things. Next one, guys. Renewable energy. This one also newly included. Okay. So loan up to 30 crore to a borrower for purpose of solar based power generators, biomass based power generator, windmills, micro hydel plants. So for these particular project, the maximum limit is rupees 30 crore rupees. Okay, so this was the newly added. So guys, so far we generally talk about what is PSL, an introduction to PSL, and what are the PSL norms, and what is the latest developments. We talk about that one, and then we gone through the sub norms, and then finally we discuss the guidelines. Now we'll talk about the shortfall management. So now what is shortfall? Before coming to this PSLC, that is priority sector lending certificate, you have to understand the shortfall. Okay, shortfall means, so shortfall management means, so first we'll talk about shortfall management. Just try to understand this case. Let's say State Bank of India, they have to lend 100, their priority sector lending target was 100 crore rupees for a given time duration, okay, for a financial year. So suppose State Bank of India have to lend 100 crore rupees in financial year 22-23. Now, there is one another bank. Okay, chalo. First we'll take an example of State Bank of India only. So State Bank of India or any other banks, they have to lend 100 crore rupees in PSLs during this particular given time duration. Now, when they went for reporting, or by any circumstances they missed their target, they landed, this was the target, and the actual was they landed 90 crore rupees in PSL. So they landed during the financial year, they landed 90 crore in this particular area. So there is a shortfall of 10 crore rupees. Now how SBI will manage this particular one? So shortfall is, this is your shortfall of target. So the overall target for the given time duration was 100 crore rupees, but bank able to lend only 90 crore rupees during the given time duration. Now if RBI will let it go, so there will be a problem. Every bank will go for the false report. They'll say कि we approaches these particular one, but no one asked for loan. So every bank will report a shortfall. So that's why RBI makes some provision regarding the shortfall management as well. So we have two ways, or this State Bank of India, they can achieve the remaining 10 crore rupees by two different ways. First one is they can buy PSL certificate from other bank. So other bank means, let's say there is one another bank, PNB. So PNB's target was, suppose that 40 crore rupees. Their target was for the same financial year was 40 crore rupees, and they landed 60 crore rupees in PSL. Okay, so the actual was 60 crore rupees. They landed during that particular period 60 crore rupees. So they have a surplus of 20 crore rupees. Now they have a surplus. So State Bank of India, they can buy 10 crore rupees certificate from PNB. First case is, so if they have surplus, so they can buy 10 crore rupees PSL certificate from Punjab National Bank. Another area is like state. This was the norms, the guidelines one. Second one is State Bank of India can deposit this 10 crore rupees with under RIDF, Rural Infrastructure Development Fund, which generally comes under NABARD, or he can develop this particular one under Mudra loan and all. Okay, so if it is a foreign bank, they can deposit with SIDBI or Mudra loan, and if it is an Indian bank, so they have to maintain it with RIDF under NABARD. So this two way they can manage the shortfall targets. Okay, I hope you're getting this one. So here we have a case as well. So there are two banks. One is Bank A. So total loan target is, this is target 100 crore rupees. PSL loan given by this, so PSL loan given by this bank is 50 crore rupees. So they achieve a target of 50%. So this was the target, this was the given target, and this is the actual loan. Okay, so he missed his target by sorry, just correct this one. Okay, so there the total loan given by the bank are just a minute, I'll erase this one. Okay, so the total loan given by bank is 100 crore rupees. So out of this they have to lend 40% in PSL, so which is equal to 40 crore rupees. So their actual target was 40 crore rupees. they landed 50% in PSL. So they achieved target by their excess is 10 crore rupees. Another bank total loan is 50 crore rupees. So they have to lend 40%. So 40% of 50 crore, which is equal to 20 crore. Okay. So 20, they have to lend 20 crore. PSL target they achieve by 15%. So there is a less target of 30%. So this 5 crore. And now for this 5 crore rupees, they can borrow or they can buy PSL certificate from bank A, and they like what is the whatever the average rate of return, so they'll pay to bank A. So this way, like as I gave you an example of this this SBI and PNB, so this is the similar case. I hope you get this particular thing clearly. Apart from this, so priority sector lending certificates are a mechanism to enable bank to achieve the priority sector lending target and sub-target by purchase of these instruments in events of shortfall. Okay, so hope this is clear to all of you. Still, please go through the guidelines or the definition. If you have any query or if you have any doubt, please do mention in comment section. Okay, so hope you're getting these particular thing clearly. Now, the second case is, as I gave you an example, so case one was that PSL certificate they can buy from those bank who have those who landed in surplus. Okay, now second one is, second, they can also deposit that particular money with if it is a Indian bank, they can deposit with RIDF under NABARD, and if it is a foreign bank, they can deposit it with SIDBI or Mudra or other schemes. Okay, so bank having shortfall in lending to priority sector shall be allowed allocated the amount contributed to RIDF established under NABARD and other funds like NABARD, NSB, Mudra, SIDBI and all, so they can deposit the remaining value. Okay, so I hope you get this particular thing clearly. Okay, so so guys, here we generally talk about the PSL guidelines. What is PSL, or what are the PSL norms given by RBI for different banks? So like for domestic commercial bank, they have to 40%. For urban cooperative banks, it will become 75% from this year onward. For RRBs, it is 75%. For small finance bank, it is 75%. For the sub norms even, or the sub guidelines. Okay, and the guidelines, different guidelines for different sectors. And we also discussed the cases of shortfall management. If any bank miss their targets toward the PSL norms, so how they'll manage that shortfall. So we have different ways where like through these they can manage their things. Okay, so hope you enjoy the video and you get these particular thing clearly. If you like, please do share with your friends and do subscribe my channel. Okay, so in next video we'll talk about Negotiable Instrument Act 1881. Again, this is very important one. Okay, so NI Act 1881, which like if you talk about the negotiable instrument, so we have check, we have bill of exchange, we have promissory note. So we will discuss these particular thing in detail. So what is check, what are the types of check, what is CDS system, what is bill of exchange, or the types of bill of exchange, or the important sections under negotiable instrument text. So we will discuss these particular things in our upcoming video. Okay, so this is it for this session. So I hope you guys enjoy the entire video. So please do express your feelings, how you liking this particular content, or if you have any suggestion, do mention in comment section. Or like let's say if you want videos on some specific topic, so do mention, I'll come with some videos. So and the only request is guys, please do like the video every time you watch, and do share with your friends, and tell your friends to subscribe my channel so they can also enjoy this particular content. Okay, so I'll see you soon with my new video on negotiable instrument. And I already did a video on MCQs based on PSL norms. So now you know what are the norms and what is the fundamental of PSL. So now you can go for that particular video and you can test your preparation. So I'll give a link in the comment section, so you can, with the help of that particular link, you can watch the MCQs based on PSL as well. Okay, so this is it from my side. Thank you for watching this video guys. Bye bye, have a nice day. Thank you.